Welcome everyone to Women of the Military episode 281. I know normally I don't do intros like this on my YouTube or live streams, but this is a special episode for Women Veterans Day. So instead of me interviewing people, I had women come on and answer the question, what does your military service mean to you? And so they each answered the question and shared their unique story. And I'm only about halfway done recording when I'm doing this intro, which is my story. But so far, they've really resonated, and I really love hearing the answers of why women or what this of what military service means to the women who've answered the question. And I don't want to limit people who were only on the podcast episode to share their answers. So feel free to write about what your military service meant to you in the comments. Um, Please like and share this video. I really want to highlight the stories of military women. June 12th is Women Veterans Day at states across the country, and it is the date that women were formally allowed to serve in the military in 1948. And so it's a really important day to remember all that women had done before June 12th, 1948, and all that they've done since. So I guess we should start with, what does my military service mean to me? And when I was thinking about this question and what I would say, I thought about how the military changed my life. I was in a small town. I didn't really have a plan for my future. I was going to college because my parents told me that I had to, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I learned about the military, and it changed my life. It gave me a goal, and it gave me a future. It gave me an opportunity to see, different parts of the United States. I even traveled overseas to Afghanistan, but it still gave me so many opportunities. It's how I met my husband. It's how I have my family today. And we've been able to travel and see so many different things. And it's all thanks to the military. And I'm just so grateful for those opportunities and how it changed my life. And I'm really thankful to continue to be connected to the military through both the veteran community and the military spouse community. And it's just, the military is a huge part of my life. And I'm really thankful that I have the opportunity to share the stories of women. It just inspires me every day and keeps me going. And so I really hope you enjoy this roundup of the answer to the question of what military service means to the women who answered it. And so I really hope you enjoy this episode, and let's get started with the next guest.
My military service means to me that I just don't learn to not judge a book by its cover, and it prepared me for my engineering career and further career by just saying you're prepared for stuff that you don't think mentally at the time. Your brain is like questioning whether you belong where you are. There's times in the military I didn't get that opportunity, and I was trained to just execute to my level of training and not let my doubt take control. And I think that has benefited me in ways I can't articulate. I think that overall I'm a better person and I look at things in a better, more objective way. The skills I use from the military have affected me and benefited me long after.
My Air Force service means three things for me: family, service, and opportunity. For family, I come from a long line of those who have served in the United States military, from my grandfather in World War II to my dad and my brother in the Army, and many others in my extended family. I also met my husband while on active duty, and together we have grown a family. For service, I always wanted to be part of something larger than myself, and being in the military is one way to do that. I feel extremely blessed to be living in America and also to be a woman in America, and I wanted the opportunity to be able to protect and defend these freedoms. And finally, opportunity. I had the opportunity to earn my education through the Air Force. I studied at the United States Air Force Academy, and then the Air Force sent me on to earn my master's at Harvard. But not just a formal education, I also consider the informal education that I earned while serving in the military, from living in Italy to traveling the world to meeting people from across the United States. So I'm very thankful for the time that I had in the Air Force.
Service means to me. First, it was a direction, a goal, a way out of a small town and an abusive household, a chance to set myself apart, a chance to prove myself, and a way to serve my country. And then it became my identity, sometimes all encompassing, my reason for being, a challenge and a sacrifice. But now I see it as an honor, an inspiration for living my life all out, a frame of reference, a reminder of the type of person I am, a leaping off point for my future, a source of many of the most memorable experiences and the most important relationships I will ever have, a hope that I've made a difference for my country and for the women who've served after me. And it's a lifelong core part of who I am and part of the legacy of service that I hope to leave behind.
For me, the military was all about adventure. And that's something that I absolutely craved. I've been all over the world. I've met different people, different cultures, but the military also pushed me harder than I thought was possible. It taught me resilience. It taught me perseverance. And honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today without the military. The friendships and the camaraderie, that's something that you can't get anywhere else. And that is something that I will always, always treasure.
What does my military service mean to me? That's a big question. For me, it meant a lot of things. It meant standing up and being counted as part of something bigger than myself. And honestly, when I joined, if I'd have known what that really meant, maybe I wouldn't have. So I'm really glad I didn't understand what it meant to serve. Serving meant creating a legacy for those that are coming behind me, not just my family, but everyone around me, everyone in my community, making it just a little bit better for the next airman. And it meant being part of a legacy of the men and women who served before me. Again, making me feel like I was just a part of something bigger than myself. It meant making a way for the next woman who wanted to serve, but who might be questioning her ability to serve, especially if she had no one in her community and in her family who had served and could help her along the way. It meant being mentored, but it also meant mentoring those who I served alongside, because I really feel like when one of us gets better, we all get better. Serving meant gaining a different perspective, a better perspective. Serving gave me a better perspective of our nation and its responsibilities to its citizen, but also of the world as a whole. Service also meant sacrifice for me, for my family back home, and it also meant a sacrifice for my kids. It meant missing out on family events, nieces and nephews growing up, but it also made going home just a little bit sweeter. It was always like a treat to go home, and the time always went by too fast. On a personal level, serving meant camaraderie and connection. That's what I was looking for when I joined the Air Force. And even though I'm no longer serving, I still feel a connection to any member of the armed forces. I like to joke, and I tell people that you can put someone serving today in a room with someone who served 50 years ago, and they're still going to be able to find a connection and feel that sense of camaraderie because they were both part of the same armed forces. Military service also meant adventure and growth, not just as a person, but also as a citizen. I gained a better appreciation from our country because service allowed me to travel across the country and live in different parts of our nation. But it also allowed me to serve abroad, which gave me an even better perspective of our country, but also of the world, of all the people out there and all the cultures. And really, my biggest perspective was that no matter how different we all are, we really are all just the same. It meant independence. I quickly learned to depend on myself, to stand up for myself, and to really speak up for myself. Serving meant being an example for my children and their friends and the next generation of my family. I can see that every time someone asks me about service, about my service, or what it's like to serve, or they're thinking about service, I know my service was an example to them. And it also means that I can share my adventure with them and give them just a little bit of an inside look into military service. Service meant a lot, but I also gained a lot. Like, I gained discipline, which helped me develop my patience, my insight, and my determination. Service also meant education, which I really hadn't considered when I first joined. I also gained confidence. Now, I was pretty confident when I came in, but I think that was because of my family and the love and support that they gave me when they were around me. But after I joined, it was just me. And serving helped me gain the confidence to take the next step, to reach for my goals. Also the confidence to pivot and accept change when I needed to, which, was quite a few times. Whether it was deciding on a career move or taking a career opportunity or moving for a new assignment, or even just realizing that it was time to do something different for myself and my family. Even saying goodbye to military service. Really, I'm no longer in the service, but my time in the United States Air Force really helped to shape and mold me into the person that I am. I can't imagine not having served. I'm proud of my service and the person that I am because of my service in the United States Armed Forces.
Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Dr. Deandra Poe. We're affectionately known as Dr. D, and what my military service means to me. Considering that I had gone into the military with a little bit of life experience in front of me, military service for me meant my community. I had already been a spouse for nearly a decade, and so I went into the military just wanting to be a change agent, doe-eyed, and just ready to be a part of this community that had grown to love. I had the privilege of being an FRG leader and really being a part of seeing families grow, seeing spouses grow, and seeing the inner workings of what it's like to take care of people. So when I finally got an opportunity to put on that uniform, I went in with that same doe-eyed wonder and ready to just change my world around me. But what being in the military meant for me was just being able to empower people, empower them from different walks of life, being exposed to different people with different backgrounds. Coming from a really small town in New Jersey meant that I could interact with the person who grew up in the city, the person who grew up on the shore in California, or also talk to people that grew up in the Midwest, in the middle of cornfields or with cows and so forth and so on. So I was grateful to be able to wear that uniform for the time that I did and interact with young people, old people, what I considered myself old. Most of my peers in relation to my rank as an officer were way younger than I was. But then most of my peers in terms of my age outranked me. And so I had the privilege of, I guess, that duality of being a young officer in the military, but still having the ability to connect with people that had a different level of maturity than I did. And I was really excited and really glad once I transitioned out. That still rings true for me. My leadership style is empowerment, and I'm grateful for having worn the uniform and being able to affect people the way that I have, and will continue to do so.
My 35 years in the Canadian military came with a lot of personal and professional sacrifice for me, and also personal sacrifice for my family. But all in all, it was worth it for the honor of serving my country, because I believe there is no greater honor than to serve. And my family also believes that sacrifices they made were worth it as well. So I think it's important to recognize our families when we talk about our time in the military, because they also serve their country, albeit in a different manner. So when people thank me for my service, I tell them that I was truly grateful to serve. And I mean that. My time in the military was very interesting because it taught me to put the needs of others in front of my own, and then to have sort of a servant mindset. And this honorable profession that we serve in is the only one in Canada, at least, that can order you to your death. And for me, that means the ultimate sacrifice in service before self, which is one of our 3 tenets, and one that I was very happy and proud to give. So since retiring, I continue to serve, only now I serve my community through the Legion, the Royal Canadian Legion, and that mindset to put others before myself becomes a part of your identity. Like putting on your uniform every day becomes a part of who you are. And putting on that uniform, what was exactly who I was. And that's, a persona that I took on that I was so proud to wear. So my service to my country was the greatest gift I could give myself, that I could give my family, and that I could give my country.
My service to me actually happened post service, and the service meant purpose. Post military, I had a loss of direction. I felt this pull towards the military, so I tried lots of different groups. And I had this love of writing and the arts. And so I wrote a newspaper article, and it was about remembering OIF's fallen. And one of the family members actually wrote to the editor and said, "Thank that writer for writing that story." And this was the start of finding my reason, my why. I became a contributor to lots of military centric journals. To me, our history is more powerful when it's told by the people who were actually there, who remember. So, my purpose is that of a storyteller. I use my gift while working with service members. In my day job, I'm a military education coordinator. I help service members navigate VA, college, the military education system. And then in my free time, I work as a fellow with the Office of Health Equity with the Department of Veterans Affairs. Right now, we're building an online gallery and we're looking for artists with ties to the military because it's important to tell our stories and bridge the military civilian gap. You hear it all the time because it's true. And so I think it's important to talk to women and women veterans, of course. Art is this huge conversation. The goal is to get veterans to share their art and their stories, and then promote veterans, educate veterans, hire veterans. So the question that you always have to ask is find your love, find your reason. What motivates you to get up in the morning? That is your purpose, and that equals service, and service equals a purpose driven life.
It is an honor and a privilege to serve my country. I'm a captain in the United States Marine Corps on active duty orders. When I think about service and what that looks like and what that means to me, it means going forward and leading by example. It means being a servant leader, that I'm not here just for myself. I'm here for the men and women that I am always surrounded by in the Marine Corps. It is an honor and a privilege. It's something that my parents may have not done before me, but something that I decided to take apart, to be part of that 1% that decided to serve out of the United States. And I look at it every day as it's been the best decision of my life. I've been able to travel the world. I've been able to meet people of all different walks of life. I have been afforded the ability to deploy and to impact cultures and just let people know how awesome we are as a service, and the way we want to lead going forward in other nations and countries. It's an honor not only to be a Marine, but to be a female Marine is that. There's so few women here that serve in the Marine Corps, and it is my job to constantly lead by example, to show people what's possible, and to bring in that next best generation of women. I am so thankful to be on this video with so many other incredible service members. It's because of you guys that we have been able to continue to have this legacy, and I can't wait for the legacy to come. Thank you so much, everyone that has served. Continue to serve. This is truly the best community, and I am so excited to see where my military career continues to take me.
My time in the service meant a lot to me, and the thing that meant most, and the thing that I loved most about it, was the ability to have a purpose, or a mission higher than myself. One of the things that I have found now that I'm in the civilian sector is I miss that, having a higher purpose, a higher something, dedicated, um, to something more than just myself. And then the second thing that I really love about my time in the service was the people that I met. I have had the extreme fortune to travel all over the world, within the United States, without the United States, and I can go pretty much anywhere, and there is somebody there that is part of my community. That military community is very important, and I think it's very unique in the fact that I can go years without seeing somebody or really even talking to them on a continual basis, and I will go to their town and say, "Hey, are you available?" See them, and we just pick up where we left off, 15, 16, 17 years ago, and it doesn't matter. It's like you just left each other the day before yesterday, and that is such a unique thing to the military community, and I don't believe people appreciate that until they become a veteran. And I love that so much about our community, and it means a lot to me. So having a higher purpose and having just that unique community, those are the two things that I love most about the time, from my service.
Such a great question. What did my military service mean to me? So many different things. I was very blessed to be a nurse in the Air Force, and I loved serving in that capacity. But I also found that I had a calling to get more education, and the Air Force actually selected me to go to AFIT and become a nurse anesthetist in the Air Force. So that was a very big blessing in my life to be able to get that degree through that and to serve in that capacity. The other thing that I think it really meant to me is developing leadership skills and life skills as I got out of the Air Force. All those things were in place, and I think that was a big bonus to my life. I did go off to war for 8 months to Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm. So being able to deal with separation from family, from our daughter who was 2 at the time, and learning to deal with all the stresses and struggles of being in a foreign country and being in a war situation was definitely a character builder. And my husband and I were both over there, so we tried to struggle through that together, which was a blessing really to have us together there, even though Jess was not there with us. I think really it helps you develop into the person that I think it helped me develop into the person that God meant for me to be. So I would not trade that time in the military, those almost 13 years, for anything in the world. I had planned to retire and spend longer in the Air Force, but unfortunately some life things happened with my family and my parents and things. So it was a decision that was made best for the family to get out. But I will always cherish the years that I had there and the things that I learned and the career changes that were afforded to me by being in the Air Force.
For me, it's meant being able to see that when I make a decision, I literally can almost do anything I put my mind to. Like, before me, nobody in my family joined the military. There was no thought process. I was just, after 9/11, I already did ROTC. I was like, I'm going to go join the military and it's going to be amazing. And I'm going to hopefully follow this calling where I'm like, I'm going to make this huge difference in my life. And once I got in there, I was like, maybe this isn't the difference that I was looking to make. And the experience showed me that I could do all of these amazing things. So when I've gotten, since that time, I've taken that into my family, starting my own business, actively planning to literally just travel the world while growing my business with my teenage daughter, and just showing them that you can make these choices and design your life the way that you want to. And anytime something gets hard for me, I look back on my experience in the military, and not even that, the connections we made while we were overseas, being able to talk to the local people and just seeing life in a different way rather than just like right here. And going through those experiences has allowed me to really expand my perception of like what we can actually create for ourselves in our life. And then even going back and questioning growing up, and I know many of us have had that, where we're like, we're meant for this amazing thing and we want to make this difference. And for me, I'm like, that wasn't it. That was maybe a piece of it, but that wasn't it. And knowing that I want to affect big change and make a difference and do all these things, that time of my life has given me the opportunities, the directions, the contacts, the motivation, and just the ability to see and think outside the box, to the point where I'm like, as I continue to gracefully age over time, is to be able to put things into place where I can then create that impact, and not just like at that scale, but at a larger scale, and really just look at it and be like, what's the big difference that I want to create in people's lives? And just knowing once I decide it, that I can do it, because I've been through some stuff. And when I talk to individuals about what I've been through, they're like, why are you scared to go on camera and promote your business? You were literally in a war. And I'm like, I know, but it's different. And then I look at it and I sit with it a little bit and I'm like, yeah, like I did this and I'm here now. I'm like, I survived and I can do it. I can maneuver through it. So that's the biggest thing, that like how it's really affected my life. And I'm really looking forward to taking that experience and just the way that I've been able to connect with people through that experience, and being able to expand on it, not just for myself, but for my children, and then hopefully my children's children from there.
What my military career means to me was a lot of things. Like, it was the first job I ever had. It was the first place I learned where to drive. It was where I met my husband. I mean, the military was such an incredible experience. I know there's a lot of people out there who have had bad experiences being in the military, but for me personally, I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I learned so much. I met so many amazing people. I got to experience cultures and people from all around the world, which I would never have gotten the chance to do if I, stayed in my small town of Florida. For me, it's just given me such discipline and guidance to be a leader where I am now. I'm a business owner. Sorry about the gear, but I've just came out of the sauna because I'm still interested in taking care of my health. It's really given me so much building blocks to have a great life. And, I always encourage young people, if they don't know what they want to do after high school, they should just go to the military. Like, there's so many beautiful things, including education and benefits that come out of it. But yeah, it's definitely helped me build my business. I'm a small business owner now. I've built Faven from the ground up, and it's amazing what has come from just a few short years being in the military. And I'm definitely proud to say I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran.
Hi, so I'm Trisha Ivy, and just wanted to let you all know. So, as far as what my military service means to me, it really means having a sense of community and a sense of pride. As a Samoan woman in the military, I grew up primarily around mostly Army veterans. And so it was a big deal to me to also transition into a different service and also see what that potentially means for letting the rest of our Samoan people who have like a natural pride for military service know that there are other opportunities available. And even more so that, like, for my field as an intelligence professional, just letting them know that there's like such a wide variety of what we bring to our nation. And so I come from a military family also. But I also realized that after I joined the military, I learned a lot more about my family lines as well that I didn't particularly know growing up. And so it was very interesting to me to go through my own journey and then also start to realize the other pieces of my family background that I had and what that like ultimately started to do as far as like building me as an individual and knowing what that meant for my lineage and then like how I was also carrying this tradition moving forward. Um, and yeah, and I also just like to bring awareness to all of our Pacific cultures and again, just a really strong sense of community involvement, knowing that we have such a vast variety of what we bring to the fight and how we can ultimately work together with all of our differences to come up with the best way to defend our nation and then also just to continue to keep the tradition going. And that's ultimately what my service means to me.
What does my military service mean to me? So I spent a little under 8 years in the Army, and I did not intend to enlist in the Army. I really, at the time I enlisted and considered leaving the only home I'd ever known and joining the military, it really was like a last resort kind of decision. But looking back, I recognize that it was the singular decision that changed my life in the most significant, impactful, transformational way. I was able to explore the world, explore my capabilities, explore myself in ways that I would not have had the opportunity to do uh, if I hadn't joined. I found my courage in a more significant way. I found my voice, my leadership. I found grit and resilience and community that enriched my life so much and for the better. My military service to me introduced me to myself. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to serve in the United States Army and have all of the experiences that I had, meet all of the people that I met, do all of the things that I was able to do, and continue to see the impacts, see the residue of who I became when I was a soldier, continue to show up in my life today as an entrepreneur. Like I said, it wasn't on my plan to do, but it was clearly a divine redirection that allowed me to get to meet myself. That's what my military service means to me.
Hi, my name is Marshantia Ivy, and when I think of what my military experience means to me, I immediately think of the word growth. And not only did I join the military and get a lot of professional experience, but I feel like I got a lot of personal life experience as well, being far away from home. I became a new mom. I became a wife as well. I've been married for 12 years and we now have 2 children and moved to 2 different bases in this time. And so I definitely feel like while my military experience impacted me professionally, it definitely impacted me personally as well. And the growth from the young 20-year-old that started and joined the military, and I look back now and I think, wow, how could it be that I started with just so little or such small life experience and vantage point to now having friends that I've met that live everywhere across the US that we still keep in contact with today. And we've experienced basic training together, and we've experienced other marriages and going to new bases and talking through that, things like that. So I think that when I think about the military experience that I've had just in totality, I can't leave out the impact that it's just had on my personal life as well. And I just feel like it's truly been a journey, and still things come up today that I started with from when I first joined.
So, what does my service mean to me? My service meaning has been all over the place. When I first left the military, I felt my service was tarnished, and I didn't really identify as a veteran for a very long time. So, only those who were very close to me knew that I served. Those that were just meeting me for the first time had no idea that I served. But then I found myself in 2014 when I joined Team Red, White, and Blue, and I started identifying more as a veteran and participating in more veteran focused organizations. Then, in the height of 2020, when my advocacy work took a turn to a different type of advocacy, because from Team Red, White, and Blue, I was advocating for mental well-being. I did a lot of work in New Jersey based on homelessness and women rights in the VA system. But then it took a turn in 2020, and I really started advocacy for women who have been exposed to or experienced military sexual trauma and harassment. And there it took a whole different light. And then I really started advocacy for myself because I started to realize, I never really openly spoke about what happened to me. I took a different turn, and I started really realizing what type of service I really did truly have when I served in the Army. Right now, I'm super proud of my service. I'm super proud of the service for the women that, served around me. Right now, we have made great strides in what the identity of women look like in service. And service to me is just really being resilient and being super proud of yourself, being there for others, and recognizing the strength of women veterans that served in the past, that served with amongst yourself, but are going to serve in the future. So that's what service means to me, and I truly appreciate this time.
My military service, I served for 37 years, and what it means to me is being part of an incredible group of men and women that defends the United States of America. Now, I didn't start that way. I was looking for college money. But along the way, I met people that were just making such an impact on my life and changing me for the good, for the better. And along the way, I learned so much about this country and about people around the world, and why it was so important that we defend this country and our way of life. Along the way, I had children, and I watched, even while I was still in uniform, my same children put on a military uniform. So it's a family affair now, and I'm so proud to have had the opportunity to wear the uniform of the United States of America, to travel the globe and to see places I would have never imagined, and to understand that this republic must be protected, even with my own children. And I was proud when they went to war, proud when they returned home. My military service means so much to me and to my family. It means a lot to all of us. Sometimes we take it for granted that what we did, whether it was for a couple of years or a couple of decades, we set it aside as just doing our job. But our job meant we protected this country. And I think all in all, that's what my military service means to me.
I just wanted to say, after listening to all the women veterans share what their service meant to me, how much each person's story resonated with me in one way or another. And I just am so grateful that you shared what the service meant to you. And just because this episode is over doesn't mean that you can't share what your service means to you. June 12th is Women Veteran Recognition Day or Women Veterans Day, and it's a day to recognize women who have served. And so share your service and share what it means to you. Let others know that you served in the military, and just be inspired by the women who've shared, and just you never know that what you share might inspire someone else. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I love the answers. I love getting to talk to all the women veterans who shared, and I can't wait to release it. So I'm really excited that it's finally out there. And now go out and share your story.